All right, everyone. Happy Monday afternoon. It's 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which means it's time for another Essential Skills seminar. This is Mary Cooper, as you guys likely already know. But before I hand the mic over to the ever-talented Miss Amy, I did want to just give a little context. So you may have noticed that the name of our every other Monday afternoon call has changed slightly. It used to be soft skills seminars, and we have changed it to essential skills seminars. And while it's very much the same thing, it's still meant to be a podcast style learning opportunity, development opportunity for you and for your fellow managers. But when you call something a soft skill, it makes it sound almost unimportant. And these skills are very important. And honestly, they're a lot harder to learn than what you would traditionally call hard skills. And so instead of calling them soft skills, we're going to call them essential skills. We're going to call them what they are. They are skills that are essential for your success. So just wanted to give you a little context around why you may have seen that name change and what it really means, because these skills are truly vital to your success as a leader. But you guys know the dealio. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic off to Miss Amy, Market Director out of Central California. Amy, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you. Hi, everybody. So we are going to be talking about communicating with credibility. Effective communication means accurately conveying your message to others in a way they understand. It's essential to every relationship and involves much more than words. Successful leaders not only choose their words carefully, but also consider their audience. Understood the significance of tone, realize the importance of timing, and never lose sight of the fact that communication is always a two-way process. Whether verbal or written, how you communicate is as important as what you communicate. You've probably become quite skilled at communicating verbally in the workplace. Since you get daily practice with employees, guests, and vendors, while verbal communication is important, there are times when writing is the best way to communicate your message. Written communication is very different from verbal communication. With verbal communication, you receive immediate feedback and have the ability to adjust your style, tone, pace accordingly. Because written communication is more concrete, you don't have the same room for error and mistakes. And once something is wrong, it really cannot be taken back. My page is stuck, sorry. Pause for technical difficulties. Sorry, guys. The ability to communicate effectively is one of the most important skills of a successful manager because everything you do involves communication, from inspiring employees and satisfying guests to improving systems and increasing efficiency. Being an effective communicator takes work. It's a skill that must be honed over time. Combining effective speaking and skillful writing allows you to increase your leadership effectiveness. Did you know that a recent study showed that 25% of the workforce spent at least 1 hour per day managing and writing business emails, of which 34% were irrelevant? That's 2 hours per week. You might as well be sitting on the beach sipping cocktails. Studies also have shown that during interpersonal communication, 7% of the message is verbally communicated and 93% is non-verbally transmitted. Of the 93% non-verbally transmitted, 38 is through vocal tones and 55% is through facial expressions. So that's a whole lot of body language happening. We're going to take some time to do a few quick activities. So take some time to think to yourself, am I most comfortable communicating A, face-to-face, B, over the phone, C, via email? For me, I think I'm a face-to-face. A lot of it because of what we do on a daily basis. The most skilled communicator I have worked with or for was, fill in your own blank. And why did you feel that person was such a great communicator? Um, I are my most recent with our market partner. She's very good at communication, super thorough with emails. So that's a good example there. So you're more than welcome. I know it's hard for everybody to unmute or be chatty, but what impressions do you have when somebody is doing the following behavior? Like, for example, if they have their hands on the hips or arms crossed, or hands in the pockets.
I know
You can
Amy,
also
if
put it
I
in the
can
chat.
jump in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We're keeping an eye on the chat. So if you're more comfortable typing your response in the chat, feel free to do so. But I know when I see someone with their hands on their hips or their arms crossed or even their hands in their pockets, it seems a little defensive. Or especially hands in pockets, they seem kind of uninterested, like they're not engaged.
Right. Maybe unintentionally, but again, it's kind of the impression that you're leaving with the person that you're communicating with.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of these ring true for anybody?
Body language.
Yeah.
Just body language. Yeah, just like Mary said, disinterested, but kind of disgusted almost. It can even turn to the like, are you mad at me? You know what I mean? It can go either way.
Yeah, Cody, you're right. Absolutely. Same thing, tapping or drumming on fingers, like you're basically saying you could be less interested in what that person has to say to you. When you're doing a coach and counsel with a team member, maybe, and you're really trying to convey your message and they have their face down or turned away, you probably feel like you're just talking to the air, that person is really not conveying anything that you've taken the energy to coach them on. Anyway, it's interesting. We can move on to the next slide, Mary. Thank you. The 8-second rule. Public speaking experts agree that most people decide in the first 8 seconds whether a particular speaker is worth listening to. Try this technique to capture your listener from the beginning. Pick a timely topic that you can talk about for 3 minutes. Have an opinion and try to convince your audience that you're right. The second, present your case, organize your thoughts, set up an outline to follow, and present your case in front of the mirror for 3 minutes. Do not go over. Use your phone, set that timer. The third, start shaving time off. First shave off 1 minute, present the same information in 2 minutes, and then continue to 1 minute. Narrow it down to 30 seconds, etc. Finally, you're wanting to get your point across in 8 seconds, and you'll find the hardest part is getting down from the 30 seconds to the 8 seconds. But once you do, you'll have captured the essence of your message and don't lose sight of it. You're really just kind of narrowing down the important stuff. Just get to the guts. And how can you communicate with credibility? Let's start talking about credibility and looking at some of the top communication mistakes. Sometimes we know all the right things, but the wrong things, unless someone's going to tell you, maybe you don't know. So just some brief evaluating whether the sender is right or wrong before you fully understand the message. Including too many and sometimes unrelated ideas in your message. Not including enough information to be understood. ignoring the information the receiver already has about the subject, not speaking for yourself, speaking for other people, making judgments rather than describing thoughts or ideas, not giving your undivided attention to the sender, thinking about your reply before listening to everything the sender has to say, listening for details rather than the entire message, and not organizing your thoughts before speaking. Now listen to yourself. There are many words that, when overused, can chip away at our credibility. Which words on this list do you find you say far too often? Like, totally, for sure, okay, yeah, so, basically, cool, any and all curse words, dude. I was ready for that. Listen to yourself carefully during your next conversation and try to eliminate these words from your vocabulary. In a professional setting, of course. This is why we're speaking to this. Using the right words at the right time can make a positive impact for your audience. Conversely, using the wrong word can call into question the value of your thoughts or the usage of spell check or all those fun AI tools we have. On the screen, here's some examples of misused words. Accessible, accessible, based around, based on, embedded, embedded, irregardless, regardless, prescription, prescription, recreate the wheel, reinvent the wheel, unloosen, and loosen. So we probably Googled the most words used in the incorrect way to get that list. Now, much of the communication that we use comes in the form of email. A lot of the contact you have with people in the organization is over email. So how can you make a great impression? Let's review some tips to writing an effective email. Write a meaningful subject line. Important in the subject line assumes what is important to you is important to the reader. So be specific. Understand the difference between to and CC. The two people are those you expect to read and respond to the message. The CC people are those you need to keep in the loop. Keep the message focused and readable. Use standard capitalization and spelling. Do not use text slang like LOL or GR and the number 8, like great. Avoid fancy type that's hard to read. Never type in all caps. It's aggressive and you're basically yelling at your receiver of your email. Identify yourself clearly. If you don't know the person you're emailing, include your name, occupation, and any other important information to identify yourself within the first few sentences. Be kind. Don't flame. To flame someone is to write an abusive personal attack. I've actually never heard that terminology before this presentation we're doing. So it must happen often if this is intended to be a lesson learned. So if someone's going to write something personal, you want to make sure that you're not flaming without consequence. So don't use email to criticize someone. Proofread everything. Spell check will not catch every mistake, and take the time to read the email before sending it. You want to look professional. Don't assume privacy. Sorry, guys, this keeps it must be my Wi-Fi keeps cutting out. I lost you.
You're still coming through great on our end, Amy.
Okay. Well, you can hear me, but I lost my visual. Perfect. Here we go. Thank you. Sorry about that. So don't assume privacy. Don't send anything over email that you don't want posted or forwarded. Email is not secure. Distinguish between formal and informal situations. When you're writing to a friend, it's okay to use smiles and abbreviations. If it's a business email, you want to keep it professional. Always assess the situation and write accordingly. Respond promptly if you want to appear professional and courteous. Respond promptly, even if your reply is, sorry, I have to get back to you tomorrow. Show respect and restraint. Many a quote unquote flame war has been started by someone who hit reply all instead of reply. So don't send snarky emails to somebody who was on the list or ever. Know when to reply only to the sender and don't copy up as a means of coercion. If you are not getting a response to emails, try a different communication strategy. Show common courtesy. Hello, hi, good day, thank you, sincerely, best regards, however you end your emails. Just always have a salutation and sign off. It's courteous. The power of a thank you letter. Technology has relieved us of the burden of writing letters. No longer do you have to worry about finding the card, writing the note, sealing, finding a stamp, and then sending it off. You can often just write an email or even a text to express your thanks, but nothing can replace the feeling that the recipient gets. When in the midst of their junk mail and bills is a handwritten card or email of thanks. Use these 4 tips to construct an effective thank you letter. 1, write clearly and concisely. No need to be long-winded or flowery. 2nd, be sincere. People can sense when you're not being honest. 3, proofread before sending. Grammatical errors and typos can appear sloppy. 4, be specific. Include details about what you're thankful for. So to recap, I mean, we're just learning that and reiterating that when we are communicating with each other and with our teams, that clear and concise is best. This quote, they may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And I will butcher this name if I say it. Carl Buchner, that was my best. Also, it was repeated by Dr. Maya Angelou. So after the call, take a crack at practicing communicating with credibility. Do the following activity. Conduct a small group meeting that communicates a prepared topic and check for understanding. What topic did you choose? Did your audience comprehend the topic? How did you gauge their understanding? Construct an email communicating a change that will occur, real or otherwise. Print and review that email with your manager in your next discussion. And you can take down notes, my manager's feedback on the email. Any questions? Probably not, but when I was thinking of the activity that I just presented, for me, it would be maybe we have retention managers well, we all have retention managers in our building, or whoever is in charge of local restaurant marketing. Maybe that's a topic that you bring up at your next manager meeting, and you can practice using clear, concise communication. For the LRM example, maybe you're writing an email to the movie theater in your area or a school in your area, and you're wanting to get the word out of P.F. Chang's, however you're going to market. That might be a great idea. Share that email with your team to make sure that you are conveying the message of wanting to promote P.F. Chang's and keep the brand image excellent. That would be a good idea.
I love it, Amy. You and I are thinking alike. I was going to say, what a great activity for our next manager meeting. So love the real world application you shared there. And thank you, Amy, for taking us through communicating with credibility and some great tips and tricks to help you be credible in your role. I mean, like you spoke to, email is such an important way that we communicate, and it's so easy to lose a message in transition. I'm with you. I hadn't heard the word flame used in that context until we were doing research for this presentation. But it's true. I mean, how often have you seen, you've been on a reply all chain where a flame came up and you got to just watch the back and forth between the two people. And similarly, when you're in person, how is your body language? How are your team members' body language? What about your fellow management team? Is that something we can work on and coach in our leaders within our restaurant? How are we communicating non-verbally as well? But as always, thank you all for spending part of your Monday afternoon with us. It's always a pleasure. I know Amy is one of the most credible speakers I can think of. So if you want to know more about communicating with credibility, please feel free to reach out to Amy. But otherwise, we did record this call, so our friends who were not on the line today have an opportunity to go back and listen to us. But big thank you to Amy, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. I hope everyone has a great rest of your Monday, and we'll see you all again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.